Happy May 31st. Can't believe it's June tomorrow already. Time has gone by so quick. Well, welcome everyone. Thanks for joining us. Today is week 5 of our balance exercise series, which means this is also our last class. It's gone by very quick, but I hope you've been enjoying the class. This balance exercise series is our low impact and low intensity class, targeting those who are frequent fallers or have lots of near misses. So with today's class, you're going to be needing a pillow of some kind or a cushion. Any size really, doesn't have to be this size in particular. It could be any size that you would like, but ideally something you can easily hold in both hands. Today's class is recorded just like our previous classes, and they should be uploaded to the YouTube channel about a week from today. So then if you are wanting to review some of the exercises we've done in the class, you're welcome to do so on our YouTube channel, which is Parkinson Society BC, all in one word, no spaces. And you should be able to find our balance and exercise series playlist on that to watch. Because today is the final class, I would like to remind you to have a look on our website to sign up for any of our future exercise classes coming up. In June next week, we will be doing a hand and dexterity class. If you're interested in that, you're welcome to sign up. There will be a little bit of handwriting practice in that if that's something you would like to work on, but it'll mostly be for hand dexterity and hand strength. So definitely sign up for that if you're interested. We've got other classes coming up in the summer as well, so keep your eye out for it. Not all are advertised just yet, but they should be coming out shortly. Okay. So for today's class, if you have any questions as we go along, you are welcome to type in the chat box, and I will do my best to answer those questions. Or equally, if you prefer not to type and you want to ask via voice, you are welcome to press the raised hand button on your screen, and then in which case I can enable your microphone and let you to speak if you would like to verbally ask your question instead of typing. But it's up to you. You might not have any questions, and that's fine as well. And so just like before, we're going to start our class in a seated position, move to a standing position, and then come back to a seated position. If anything feels too difficult today, don't worry. You can follow along to the best of your abilities. You're welcome to slow things down if you'd like. Of course, practice makes progress. Practice doesn't make perfect, but practice makes progress. So you are always welcome to review the exercises at a later date to practice if you'd like. Okay, perfect. Well, hopefully you can see me and hear me. Let's get started. So I'm going to move back to my chair. Okay. So for those who have just joined in, remember you need a pillow or some kind of a cushion today. That would be great. You can put it aside. We won't need it just yet, but make sure you have it handy. Okay. So we're going to start sitting in our chairs. Remember, we're not slouching back or shuffling forward to the front of our chair so that our feet are flat on the floor. And we're going to start with some marching. So as we're marching here, it's really important that you're lifting up your feet. So we're not just doing this. We want to lift the feet up nice and high. Imagine that you're stomping the ground with every step. And you're swinging those arms, not just forward, but backwards as well, right? Swinging those arms back just as much as you are swinging them forward. We're sitting nice and tall. No one should be marching at the back of their chair like this. You want to sit up tall at the front of the chair, and you're marching on the spot. Keep your chest nice and wide open, crown of the head reaching for the ceiling. Nicely done. Now, when we're doing this marching pattern, we're going to change it up a tiny bit today and make you think a little bit more. So the feet are going to go front, front, back, back, other side, front, front, back, back, other side, front, front, back, back, other side, front, front, back, back. So we'll keep this going for a second. We'll ignore the arms. We'll add the arms in just a moment. But I want you to think about stepping forward and back with alternating feet. So if I go right, left, right, left, my next one is going to be left, right, left, right. Keep going. And you're welcome to, of course, do this a little slower if you're getting confused with the feet, but otherwise you're welcome to pick up the speed as we're doing this marching pattern. Make sure you're still sitting up nice and tall. Nobody should be back here in the chair. And now when you're ready, we're going to add the arms. We're going to go push, pull. So as you step forward, you're pushing the arms, spreading the fingers. As you step back, you're pulling with the arms, okay? Push, pull, push, pull. And the legs should be nice and rhythmic with the step. So we're not going quick, 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 but we're going step, 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 step. So there's a rhythm to the way that you're stepping. We're trying to make them as even as possible. No quicks and slow stepping, but you're making it consistent tempo with the stepping. Nicely done. Of course, you're welcome to slow it down or speed it up. It doesn't have to be the same pace that I'm doing, as long as you're going nice and rhythmic with your stepping. So you go push, pull, push, pull, push, pull. Nicely done. Push, pull. Good. Keep going. Make sure you spread those fingers nice and wide. Imagine that you're actually pushing something away from you and pulling something towards you. Let's do 3 more. And then we're going to add on a little bit. Okay, when you've done your 3, we're going to do the same pattern with the feet, exactly the same, forward, back, back, forward, forward, back, back. But this time, we're going to do a push and pull with our arms every time we step. So it looks like this: push, pull, push, pull. Other side: push, pull, push, pull. So instead of just doing a push every time we step forward and a pull every time we step back, we're going to change the arms with every single step. So you go forward, push, forward, pull, backwards, push, backwards, pull. So you go push, pull, push, pull. Other side: push, pull, push, pull. Other side: push, pull, push, pull. Make sure your feet are still going and you're still alternating the legs. We're still sitting up nice and tall. You're just changing your arms with every step. Push, pull, push, pull. Nicely done. And once you've had that pattern, you are welcome to speed it up. If you like, you don't have to. You're welcome to stay at the same pace, or you can speed it up if you like. This one's a little confusing, I know, but stick with me. I'll go a little slower again. Push, pull, push, pull, making you think a little more. Pull, push, pull. So the arms move and they switch positions with every step. The feet are exactly the same, always going forward, forward, back, back. Nicely done. Let's do 4 more in your own time. Wherever you are, just do 4 more of these. Nicely done. And rest. Okay. So now we're going to go back to sitting up nice and tall. If you lost your posture, bring it back. we're going to take our leg and we're going to tap it out to the side. In, side, in. So you're tapping from side to side. And as I'm tapping, you'll notice that I'm kind of shifting my weight from side to side. I'm shifting my weight. I'm exaggerating it a little bit so you can see, but I'm shifting my weight from side to side. I'm shifting my weight away from the leg that's moving, so I have room to actually move. Because if I stay in the middle, you're gonna have a really tough time moving those legs out. So I'm shifting my weight as I'm moving. Okay, so we're tapping the toes out to the side. Remember, you don't have to do a big sway like I am. I'm sort of exaggerating the movement here so you can see that weight shift. But now what we're going to do is we're going to add the arms. We're going to reach the arm up. So whichever leg you've got out to the side, that same arm is reaching in the opposite diagonal. And then we come back in, same to the other side, tap out to the side. The same arm as the leg reaching is going to reach upwards in a diagonal like so. Open those fingers, reach almost like you're about to touch the ceiling and come back. So we're going reach, come back. Reach, come back, reach, come back. So see how far you can stretch your arm. How far can you open those fingers and open that palm? How far can you tap out towards the side? You're trying to fill up as much room as you can in the space that you've got here. Nicely done. Keep going. Really feel that reach, that stretch, that oppositional pull. Nicely done. Let's go for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and back to the middle. Okay, my chair's moved a little bit. We're gonna go back to our marching on the spot, lifting those knees nice and high. Just swinging those arms. Remember, the arms are not just going forward, but we're swinging them back just as much as they're going forward. Sitting up nice and tall. And then we're gonna keep the legs going, but we're gonna drop the arms for a second. The legs are marching, but the arms are not. And now what we're gonna do, I might need to move forward a little bit. And now what we're gonna do here as we're marching, we're going to take one of our arms and we're going to circle it backwards. So one big circle backwards. And as you're doing the circle position, hopefully you've got a little bit more room than I do here, so you're not grazing the wall behind you. But you're circling and you're sitting up nice and tall. And then what you're going to do now is the other arm that's not circling, you're going to now bring it into a circle as well, but in the opposite direction. So one arm is circling back and one arm is circling forward. A little bit of a brain teaser here for you. Keep the legs marching. You're circling one arm back, one arm forward. Keep going. I'm going to turn sideways so you can see my arms. One is circling back, one is circling forward. So you'll notice even though they're going in opposite directions, they're reaching the top at the same time. And they're reaching the bottom at the same time, yes? So they're kind of moving at the same speed. We're reaching the top at the same time. We're reaching the bottom at the same time. Reaching the top at the same time. Reaching the bottom at the same time. You're welcome to do this slow if you like, but keep those legs marching. Don't let the legs stop. Let's go for 4, 3, 2, 1, and rest for a second. Okay, now we got to do the other side. Go back to your marching. Now we're going to the other side. So whichever arm you didn't start with first, you are now starting with that arm. So I'm going to circle back. Keep your chest up. Sit up nice and tall. Circling back. Then when you're ready, the other arm is going to circle forward. So again, you got one arm circling back, or one arm circling forward, but they're going at the same tempo, and you're reaching the bottom at the same time, and you're reaching the top at the same time. Keep going. circling the arms in the opposite directions. And now we're going to go for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and rest. I'm going to come face you again. Make sure you're sitting up nice and tall. We're going to float those arms up into a T shape, and we're going to curve down to the side. So you're really stretching on the side of your trunk. Reach the arm down, reach the arm up in opposite directions. Keep your chest forward, not like this. Chest forward, holding here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Coming up. Drop the arms for a second. Float them back up. Same to the other side. Over onto one side. You're stretching the outside of your trunk, making sure the chest is forward and we're not tipping down. Reach those arms. Keep the hips down onto the chair. Holding at 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Coming up. Drop the arms. Take your hand. Reach the outside of your opposite knee. Your other hand wraps around the back of the chair. Sit up tall, and we're going to rotate. Use your arms to pull yourself around. We're going to rotate on the spot here. Make sure you don't get shorter, but we're almost growing taller on the spot. So you're thinking about twisting on axis, kind of like if your spine was a corkscrew. You're sitting up nice and tall, holding it for another 3, 2, 1, and coming back to the middle. Same to the other side. Take your hand. Hold on to the opposite knee. Other hand is going to wrap around the back of the chair. Sit up tall. Pull yourself around into this twist rotation position. Nice and tall. Holding it here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And come back to the front. I'm going to turn sideways for a second. Now we're going to shuffle our bottoms back in the chair. And we're going to lean into the back of the chair. Then we're going to slouch. This is the only time you're allowed to slouch. We're slouching in the chair. Bring the arms up behind the head. Make sure you're opening those elbows out to the side so you're really open through the chest. And from here, we're going to arch up and over the back of the chair to feel a stretch in your upper back. And maybe a bit in your chest too. Just be careful that we don't go too far back because I don't want you to fall off your chair. But you do want to go up and over the chair and feel that stretch for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and coming back up. We're going to do that one more time. Arms up behind the head. Open those elbows out to the side to stretch the chest. Then we're going to lean up and over the chair, holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and coming back up. Use your tummy muscles to sit up forward. Then we're going to shuffle to the front of the chair again. Now, we're going to do our sit-to stands. So last week, we had one leg bias, where we had one leg back and one leg forward. And we're trying to weight bear mostly on that back leg to stand up nice and slow. So we're going to progress that a little bit today. But first, let me go over the sit-to-stand basics. So when we're doing a sit-to-stand, what I don't want to see is you sit at the back of the chair and then you try to push your bottom up like this and then try to use your arms to pull yourself up. No, no. And we also don't want to be sitting back here and standing up by pushing the back of our legs into the chair to stand. We want to use the strength in our body and our legs to help us stand. Use our trunk muscles too. So you're shuffling forward. So you're at the edge of the chair, feet flat on the floor. You're going to imagine someone's grabbed your shirt and is physically pulling you forward over your base of support. In this case, your feet. You're getting your weight pulled so far forward that your bottom comes off the seat. You're keeping your weight in the middle of your base of support, i.e. your feet. Then you push yourself up to stand. So you want to always be balanced in your base of support. And the same thing when you're sitting back down, you're bending those knees, sticking the chest forward. But see how even though I'm bending my weight is still in the middle of my base of support, so my feet, and then I'm going to slowly lower down into a seated position. And that's essentially what balance is. You're keeping your center of gravity, your weight, in the middle of your base of support, regardless of how you're moving, okay? So let's try that again. So nice and slow. Weight forward over your base of support. Balance your weight over your base of support before you then push up to stand. Keep your weight in between your base of support. Same when you sit back down, bending down, but you're keeping your weight in the middle of your base of support and then you're sitting down. So you can either stay there, nice and slow, the slower the better. You can either stay there or you can join me for what we did last time, where we had one leg back, one leg forward. So we're biasing the back leg such that when we come forward, I'm bringing my weight over my base of support, and then I'm standing up exactly the same as I would with both legs even. Same with on the way down, bending, but I'm keeping my weight over my base of support to sit down. So last time we did 3 on one side, switch to 3 on the other side. You can stay there, or if you really want to challenge, you're welcome to take your leg off the floor, and you're welcome to bring your weight over your base of support and stand up on just the one leg. You can touch your toes to the floor if you need a bit of help with balance. Same with on the way down. You're bending your weight over your base of support to then sit back down. So you can do 3 on one side, 3 on the other side, but of course, by all means, you're welcome to place your toes on the floor to help you with balance, as long as we're not stomping on that leg, and then sitting back down. So you can either do single leg, get the foot off the floor, or you can put the foot on the floor for biasing the leg, or your feet can just be in the same position and you're doing the same sit to stand. Up to you what you want to try. You're going to do 10 in your own time, okay? If you're doing the 3 on one side, 3 on the other side, you're not going to quite get even, but you can maybe do 3 on one side, 3 on the other side, and then repeat on both sides. So you're doing a little bit extra. You end up doing 12 instead of the 10. So take your time. You can do whatever version you prefer, whatever works for your body today. We're not competing with anybody in the class. Just do whatever feels good for you and whatever you think you need to work on. Remember to do it slow. I do not want to see anybody do this and pull themselves up, because if you have to pull yourself up, then you already know your center of gravity is way too far back. You need to bring your center of gravity forward first before you can stand. Okay, keep going. You can do whatever version you prefer. You're welcome to do the single leg or the single leg bias one, whichever one works for you, or you can put both feet on the floor. It's entirely up to you. As long as we're doing it slow, no one should be using momentum. I want to use the strength in your legs. Don't do multiple swings to then get yourself up. Nicely done. Remember, you're doing 10 or 12 if you're doing the single leg version in your own time. And when you've done your 10 or 12 on your last one, you're going to stay standing. But take your time. There's no rush. I think I've done more than 3 on that side. Got carried away, chatting. If you're already finished, you're welcome to stay in standing and just wait for the rest of the class to catch up. But you're taking it slow, remember, there's no rush. Remember to keep your center of gravity over your base of support. And on your last one, if you're up to that already, you are welcome to stay in standing for the standing portion of the class. Okay. Okay, how are we doing? How are we feeling? Okay, so you are going to grab hold of your cushion now, or pillow, whatever you're using. Doesn't have to be the size. It could be any size you can comfortably hold in both hands. And now today, we're going to do some traveling lunges. So in the previous week, we've been doing lots of side stepping, forward, backward stepping type movements. So lots of multi-directional stepping for balance. And so today we're going to progress that a little more, and we're going to travel across your room. So you can see that my room is pretty narrow, but I'm at one end of the room and I'm going to travel forward. So here's what we're going to do. Let me show you the legs. I'll ignore the pillow for a second. So the legs are going to go lunge, stand up, other side, lunge, stand up, all the way to the other side of the room. I can only get 2 in before I hit the end, but you keep going until you get to the end of your room. And then when you can't go anymore, you're going to do those lunges again, but backwards this time, like this. Lunge, other side, lunge. Now, if the lunges feel horrible for you or you can't do lunges at all, that's okay. You can do step. So just step out as far as you feel you can. Stepping out as far as you think you can, all the way to the other side of the room. Then you're doing the same thing, stepping back as far as you can. Stepping back as far as you can. So if you can't do lunges, that's okay. Stepping is okay too. Now, we're going to take our cushion. Here's what we're going to do. As we step or lunge forward, we're going to take the cushion and we're going to throw it in the air and catch. Same to the other side. Step or lunge, throw the cushion in the air and stand up. When we go backwards, whether you're stepping or lunging, you're going back and then you're going to pass the cushion around your trunk. So around your body, around your belly button. Other side, step or lunge, pass the cushion around your tummy, whoops, and then you stand up. So when you go forward, you're throwing the cushion. When you go backwards, you're passing it around your trunk. Okay, let's try it. So join me here. You can take your time. There's no rush. You do a speed that works for you. Whether you're stepping or lunging is entirely up to you. So because my room is quite narrow, I can only get 2 in before I have to change directions. But if you got more room in your house, you are welcome to do more all the way to the ends of the room or a hallway, depending on where you are. So you're throwing that cushion up as you travel forward. As you travel back, you're passing that cushion around your tummy. You can take your time here. It's not about speed. We're not doing, the quickest possible movement. You're trying to stay balanced. You're keeping your center of gravity in between your base of support at all times in order to stay balanced in this position. And even though you might be moving your head and eyes to follow where the cushion is, especially when you're throwing upwards, you might feel that you're losing your balance a little bit when you look up. So that's pretty normal, but I want you to try your best to stay grounded and think about keeping your center of gravity between your base of support. Nicely done, everybody. Keep going. Remember, if you're doing the stepping version, that's fine as well. If you're just stepping, you can do exactly the same thing. Your steps might be smaller than the lunges, and that's okay, but I still want you to step out as far as you think you can. So what you want to avoid is this. Doesn't count. Doesn't count. You got to step out enough that there's actually a space between your feet. Yeah? Okay. Same with on the way back. If you're doing this, doesn't count. You want to step back enough that there's a space between your feet. And then you're passing that cushion around you. Being nitpicky today. It's our last class. We got to be a little bit picky. Good, keep going. So this is the stepping version, right? So remember, even if you're stepping, that's fine. See how far you can step. How far you can step, okay? If you're doing the lunging, similar, you want to step back a little further, because if you're like this and you're trying to lunge, you're going to get stuck. So make sure you step back far enough that you actually get some clearance. How are we doing here? Hopefully good. The chat box is quiet. That's always good. Means everybody's working hard. Either that or you're all asleep. Keep going. Nice job. Let's do 2 more laps wherever you are. So 2 more laps is in 1 more forward, 1 more back. Unless you got a really short room like me, where you only do 2. And rest when you are done with that. Okay, let's hold on to our cushion. We're going to do our next exercise, which is a bit of a pivot exercise. So you might remember last time we did an exercise where we held onto the cushion, we stepped forward. Do you remember this one? And then we put our weight onto the toes of our feet, at the balls of our feet, and we turn, we pivot to the other side. Remember the toes pointing the direction our body is going. And then we step together again. Do you remember? Same with the other side. We step forward, pivot, and we came in. Yeah, so we went forward step, pivot, forward step, pivot, forward step. Today, we're going to go backwards. So we are going to go backwards step, pivot, noticing my toes are pointing the direction I'm going, backwards step. Then the same thing on the other side. Let me move forward, backward step, pivot, backward step. So let me do that again. Backward step, pivot, backward step. Maybe I'll keep turning facing you because otherwise you get confused. And then other side, backward step, pivot, backward step. So you take turns. You go left, right, left, right. Let me show you that again. We go backward step, push the cushion in front. Now, put your weight on the balls of your feet, and you're going to keep your tummy muscles nice and strong. We're keeping our body in between our base of support, and we're going to pivot to the other side, noticing my feet are pointing the direction I'm facing, and then I'm stepping in. Yeah, make sense? Other side, backward step, pivot, backwards step. Okay, so join me here if you haven't already. I know it's a little confusing when we first start, but take your time on this. Once you feel like you have the pattern, you are welcome to speed it up a little bit. This one's a little hard, so no worries if it's taking some time for you to get the movement, no problem. Stepping back, pivoting, stepping back, pivot, step back, pivot, step back. Good, keep it going wherever you are. Take your time, doesn't have to be fast. Let me Go forward again. Oh, I stepped the wrong way. Always think stepping back, pivot, stepping back, pivot, stepping back. Take your time on this, no rush. I'm going to do this nice and slow, but you are welcome to do it faster if you feel like you have the pattern. I feel like sometimes when I talk, I mess myself up. How are we doing? Take your time. Once you have it, you're welcome to go faster. But for the moment, I'm going to do it nice and slow because this is a new one. It's a little tough. So that way you can follow along if you get lost. So it's always backward step, pivot, backward step, pivot to the other side, backward step, pivot, backward step, pivot, backward step to bring the feet together, backward step, pivot, backward step. Okay, let's do 2 more in your own time, wherever you are, do 2 more. And rest. When you've done your 2, you can put the cushion away. We got 1 more exercise before we practice our floor kneel. Okay, so last week you might remember that we did a windmill. I was about to say treadmill, I meant windmill. A windmill task. Do you remember this one? Yeah, we stepped over a box. So today we're going to do the same thing, but without a box, starting with our feet together. Arms down to one side. We're going to step out, reach the arms up, step together. So I want you to imagine you dipped your fingers into paint and you're spreading them nice and wide, and you're going to keep them wide and you're drawing a giant rainbow up overhead as you're doing this movement. Okay, you're drawing a gigantic rainbow, stepping out, stepping out, stepping out, stepping out. Join me here if you can. If this is too hard, keep your legs open and keep them there. And you can just go up and over to one side, up and over to the other side. So up to you what version you want to do. You're of course welcome to hang on if you need. If you're having a lot of balance issues, you can start on one side of the chair and you're welcome to go up and over, other side of the chair. Up and over, up and over. But if you're doing this version, it doesn't mean that our fingers are like this. Open them nice and wide. You're finger painting. I know my hands are a little cut off in the screen here, looking back, but you're imagining you're finger painting. You're reaching, 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 reaching. If you're doing the chair version, or if you're not doing the chair version, same thing. You're going up and over, up and over. So we're not just standing up here like this, right? I'm exaggerating, no one's doing it like that, but you're bending your knees down. So you're thinking about that rainbow shape that goes up and over. So we're not just up here, we're up and over. So start low, we're going up and over, up and over. Lift the legs nice and high if you can. Up and over, up and over. If it's difficult to lift those legs up, I want you to imagine you're stomping the floor with every step. That's going to help. So stomp, stomp, stomp the floor with every step. That will help lift the legs up higher. Stomp, 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 stomp. Keep going. Nicely done. Keep going. I think I see a question. Oh, perfect. Okay. Keep going. Stepping out, stepping in, stepping out, stepping in. So we're going up and over. Spread those fingers nice and wide. Spread the fingers nice and wide, like you're finger painting. You're drawing something on the canvas in front of you. More specifically, you're drawing a gigantic rainbow. Open those fingers. Nicely done. Step out wide if you can. Let's do 4 more in your own time. And when you've done your 4, we're going to grab our chairs and we're going to practice our 4 kneel exercise. So last time we held onto a chair and we did a knee to the floor, a second knee to the floor. Do you remember? Hands down to the floor. We sat down and then we did it in reverse and we got up again. Today we're doing the same thing again. We're practicing again. After you sit down onto your bottom, we're going to come back up onto our hands and knees, hold onto the chair, leg up into standing. Now, that's the full version if you want to do that. If you don't, that's okay. You can do a couple of modifications. You're welcome to go double knee down to the floor, and then hand down to the floor, and then just come back up if you like. Or if you don't want to do that version, you're welcome to just go double knee, keep your hands on the chair the whole time, and then just come back up. Or you can do a single knee, and come back up. Or if you can't bring your knees to the floor at all, that's okay. Step back as far as you can and try to get as low as you feel you're able to, okay? Any of those versions are absolutely fine. So join me when you're ready, whichever version you want to do. You can do a single knee, not touching the floor, single knees touching the floor, or double knees touching the floor, or you can do double knee onto your hands as well, and then sitting down onto your bottoms and then flipping back up. Take your time here. Remember, we're not rushing. Nobody should be crashing their knees to the floor. I don't want to hear of any injury, so please be careful. And remember, you can use a chair, a table, whatever you can grab hold of, ideally not a wall, just because here you kind of need something to grip onto. If it's a wall you're holding onto, you might just slide your hands down and then they'll go crashing into the floor. So you need to be a little bit careful here. If you've never gotten onto the floor before and there's no one at home to help you if you need it, then please don't attempt to get onto the floor in case you get stuck, but you're welcome to do any of the other progressions, like the single knee or the double knee onto the floor, but don't sit down onto your bottom fully if you're not confident with being able to get back up again, or if you don't have anybody at home to help you if you get stuck. So just be careful, okay? Of course, just like last time, you're welcome to use a cushion as well. So if your knees are hurting and you want to use a cushion, make sure the cushion is behind you, not in front. Cushion is behind you, not in front. You step back over the cushion, then your knee comes down onto the cushion like that. Exactly the same thing. And you sit back down. You can sit in whichever way you want, feet up, feet down, whatever you prefer. Just make sure if you have a cushion, it has to go behind you, because if it's in front of you, you're going to miss the cushion, because then if you just go down like this, you're going to get stuck. So you need to step back to then bring the knees down. Okay. Let's do 2 more wherever you are, just 2 more in your own time. Remember to take your time, no crashing into the floor. And when you're finished, you can shake out those legs, put the cushion away if you were using that. And we're gonna go back to our sit to stand. So we're standing, bring the chair behind you, and I want you to practice sitting back down and standing up again, using that method we talked about before of bringing your weight over your feet and then standing up, same in reverse. Keep your weight over your feet and then sit down. So now that you've done all those exercises, I want you to play around with this slow sit to stand and have a feel of how you're doing now. Now that you've done more of these exercises, does it feel easier than when you first started today? It might not, and that's okay, but I want you to kind of retest the sit to stand with yourself. Maybe it feels a little easier to shift your weight forward over your base of support. Maybe you're getting a little bit more range of movement. And of course, you're welcome to do the single leg bias as well, where you do 3 on one side, then 3 on the other side. Or you're welcome to lift the leg up completely and do a single leg. You can put your toes down if you need help with balance, and then back down. So it's entirely up to you. Remember, you're going slow. Nobody should be pushing no one should be pushing the legs onto the back of the chair or like this, needing to pull up. We're always thinking about good technique, bringing your weight forward over your base of support in order to stand. And you can do whatever version works for you. Let's do 2 more, wherever you are in your own time. You're doing 2 more, and on the second one, you're gonna stay seated. Nicely done. So when you're finished, you're gonna stay seated. Now we're gonna go for a bit of a stretch. We're gonna float those arms up, and we're gonna dip down to the side, reaching the arms in opposite directions. Keep the shoulders away from the ears. Holding it for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Coming up and dropping the arms. Same to the other side. Float the arms up, down to one side. Keep the chest facing forward, holding it here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Coming up, drop the arms. Take your hand, hold on to the opposite knee. The other hand is going to wrap around the back of the chair. Sit tall and rotate around. You're rotating on the spot, kind of like your spine is a corkscrew. And you're sitting tall, crown of the head, reaching for the ceiling, reach around. You're going to be pulling yourself around using your arms, looking at the back wall, and release. Same to the other side. Hold on to your opposite knee, other hand wrapping around the chair. Sit tall and rotate towards the back wall. Holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and rest. I'm going to turn my chair sideways. We're going to sit back in our chair, lean into the back of the chair, slouch a little bit, bring the hands up behind the head, open the elbows out to the side, so you're opening the chest. And we're going to go up and over the back of the chair, feeling that stretch in your upper back and in your chest for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Coming up. One more. Hands up behind the head, reaching back, holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And coming up, using your tummy muscles to sit up, bring yourself forward again, and we're going to stretch the back of our legs. One leg is going to be straight in front of us. Sit up tall, keep your spine long, hinge forward at the hips to feel a stretch underneath our thigh. You can hold onto your thigh, your knee, your ankle, your foot, whatever you feel comfortable reaching. And we're going to hold it here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Coming back up. Same to the other side. Straighten the leg. Sit up tall. Hinge forward at the hips. Holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Coming back up. Let me face you. And we're going to do a thigh stretch. We're going to turn ourselves over onto a diagonal. The front knee, you're going to drop towards the floor. So it doesn't touch the floor, but you're pointing the kneecap towards the floor. And then you're sitting back in your seat. Really open up the front of your hips. You're straightening the front of your hip by pointing your knee to the floor. And you should feel stretch in the thigh here. And you're holding it for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Sitting back up. Same to the other side. On the other diagonal, you're going to reach that knee down towards the floor, point it towards the floor, lean back to feel a stretch in the front of the thigh, holding it for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Coming back up. Okay, last one. You're going to take your leg, you're going to hike it over your opposite knee, and you're going to push that knee down towards the floor. Sit up tall, hinge forward at the hips, and you should feel the stretch in your bottom muscle. If this is too much, you don't hinge forward. You can just have the leg over and try to push that knee down. Or the bottom knee can be straight, so it's less of a steep angle for you. Same thing, you can just hold here, or you can lean forward. Up to you. Holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Same to the other side. Hike that foot over the knee. You can either stay here, or you can press that knee down, or you can lean forward, hinge forward at the hips. If this is too much, release that bottom leg. Same thing, up to you. Holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and down. Nicely done. Okay, that's it. Thank you everybody for joining us for week 5 of our balance exercise series. I hope you enjoyed it. Just like I mentioned at the beginning of the session, the class is recorded. So if you did want to revisit anything, you are welcome to do so on the YouTube channel, which is Parkinson Society BC, all in one word. And the recording should go live some point next week. So you're welcome to have a look if you want to practice any of these skills. But remember, in order to improve your balance, you have to put yourself in situations where your balance is a little compromised. I'm not saying that, I encourage you to fall or anything, definitely not. But what I mean is exercises that kind of make you feel unsteady, where you're doing lots of weight shifting, lots of multi-directional stepping type exercises is what you want to do in order to help improve your balance. You can't improve your balance by sitting in a chair. It has to be something on your feet that you're simulating a real world situation. So please keep practicing. Don't feel discouraged if it feels really tough. It's supposed to challenge you a little bit. If this class is too easy, that's okay as well. You are welcome to look at our other exercise classes that might be a little higher intensity, because remember, this class is our low impact, low intensity class, targeting those who would like a slower paced class, who are frequent fallers. So if you are not one of these people, that's okay too. You are of course welcome to do the exercises, but if you're looking for something a little more cardio intensive, you can have a look at our other classes. Or if there's no classes that you like currently listed, please go on our YouTube channel and you can do the exercise classes on there that are recorded from our previous exercise classes. So you can have a look at those if you would like to try some of the ones that we don't have offered that you're interested in. Okay. Thank you, everybody. I'm glad to hear that you've enjoyed the class, and wonderful. And I'm glad to hear that you find things are getting a little bit easier. That's okay. If the one leg version is still tough, absolutely fine. I don't expect a lot of you to be able to do that, but it was an optional progression if you worked your way up to it. So no problem at all. I'm glad to hear that you're enjoying the class. Okay, thank you everybody. Thanks for joining us for the balance and exercise series. Hopefully I will see you in the next couple of months for our future exercise programs. Wonderful. Thank you everybody. Bye for now.